23, book of Vayikra, Pasuk Lam Gimel, Vayidaber Adonai Moshe Lemor. This is the Torah reading for the first day of Sukkos. Daber Bnei Yisrael Lemor, speak to the children of Israel. B'chamisha Asar Yom HaChodesh Hashvi Hazeh Chag Sukkot, the festival of Sukkot, Shivat Yamim Hashem, 7 days for God. Then it says, Bayom HaRishon Mikra Kodesh, the first day we'll call it holy. Rashi says, what he says in a moment, first they call it holy. How do you sanctify it? By wearing special clothing and by praying. And all other holy days, you sanctify it with food and drink. On Yom Kippur, you sanctify it with clean clothing and with prayer. On all other days, you sanctify it with food, drink, and clean clothing and prayer. Okay, but now we're going to the Rashi. So it says in Pasuk Lamed Vav, Shivas Yamim, 7 days, Takrivu Yishel Hashem, 7 days you shall bring a festival to God. You make it a festival, you should bring an offering. By Yom HaShmini, on the 8th day, Mikra Kodesh Yochem, the 8th day shall be holy for Hashem. Atzerasi, it's an Atzeres. Kol Melachas Avodah V'Sasim. So let's see what Rashi says. Atzerasi. Atzarti eslem, etzli. I held you back to me. What is the word atzeres? Shmini atzeres. Held you back to me, like a king who prepares his sons for a meal. Kamel shazimin espanav vasuda. A king who prepares his sons for a meal. Kimin shegias mali pater. Once the time has come to depart, Amar, the king says, Bonai, my sons, bevakasha mikem, akvui me, stay with me, o yom echad. Stay with me one more day. Kashal, I pray this lamb. Your departure is hard for me. So that word atzeres means just linger with me. Stay with me one more day. Now, hold on. I want to get to Ramban. I know we'll do Ramban, but it's very powerful here. Let's see if we have Ramban. No, I don't have Ramban. Gracious. I don't see the Ramban. So Rabbi Yosef, can you pull it up? Rabbi Yosef? What?
Already done.
Okay, so let's see what he says here. The Ramban says a very powerful phrase. Ramban says, you only have it in English, not in Hebrew? You don't have both? Can you do both? Okay, let me pull it up. Anyway, go to the top of the Ramban. Don't sometimes you could do it side by side. So you can't do where it says both languages. Where it says look at the A, and then it'll say A and Aleph. No, to the left. Go to the left. So the other way. One to the right. One over. Yeah, right there. Click that. No, you clicked to the one that says both in the middle language. There you go. Okay, now go to the top. Okay, so we'll read what Nachmanides says. We're in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 36. Okay, I can't see the screen. Okay, it's Sarasi. I stopped you. We're reading Nachmanides. Well, first he quotes Rashi. We'll skip to Rashi. This is taught. And now Ramban says, Derech HaEmet. Derech HaEmet means Kabbalistically. He says, God made the world in 6 days. V'yom HaShvi who's Shabbat. And the 7th day is Shabbat. Ve'en bet zugo. Shabbat does not have a partner. U'knesset Yisrael, he bat zugo. And the Knesset Yisrael is the partner of Shabbat, as states V'et haaretz. V'nei hi shminit atzerati. And then the 8th day, it is the atzeret. Kikuam kedoshim uv'tocham Hashem. And they're gathered there. And then we count 49 days, and then we count 49 days. And then we have the holiday of Shavuot. And the holidays of Shavuot are like a Chol Moed between the first and the 8th day. So, I mean, Ramban is not 100% clear. But anyway, the point is, Ramban is saying that...
He's saying that it applies to all of the different holidays. Each one has its first and last day, and in between is Chol Moed. Because you skipped a few words. You said that כי כל העדה כולם קדושים, but כי שם נעצר הכל וציווה בחג המצות 7 ימים וקדושה לפניהם ולאחריהם.
Not all the holidays, just also applies between Pesach and Shavuot. Shavuot is the Atzeret to Pesach, and Sukkot has its own Atzeret, which is much closer. But what's his point about Shabbat being not having a partnership? So it's when we gather as a community, we are the partner to Shabbat. In some ways, that's what he's saying. Hi, Eric, how you doing? So we're studying the Torah reading for Sukkot.
Oh, okay.
And Eric, this is Daniel.
Daniel. Eric.
Okay.
So
you know where they are? They're over there. So while we're at it, Rabbi Yosef, let's see what other explanations we are of the Atzeret, because basically Ramban's explanation is very similar. But you know what? I have this Hasidic commentary here. Let me read some of the explanations of the Hasidic commentary. The word Atzeret. We're at chapter 23 of Vayikra, verse 36. And we said that the 8th day, and this year, of course, the Shmini Atzeret will never be the same, because this year, Shmini Atzeret was the day of the attack on the Jewish people, when it happened on Atzeret. So we saw two explanations so far. Rashi says that the word Atzeret means to linger, and Ramban says that Atzeret is like the gathering of everybody, and it makes it like a partnership with Shabbat, a partnership with God. So now we go to the let me see if there's, just before we go on in the explanation, because I'm very moved by this explanation of Rashi. Linger with me a little bit longer. Rashi says, I don't want to let you go. That's what I felt when we were davening on Yom Kippur. I said, I want it till the day to last. I don't want it to end. Yeah. This Rashi, stay with me a little bit longer.
every year I'm just going to say, we say, stay another day.
Stay another day. Beautiful. Yeah, that's what I feel like. This Rashi is very romantic. He's like, I don't want you to go yet.
It's also why there's no sacrifices, where it's just minimal.
There's one sacrifice.
You go from all the full everything.
One more just for me.
All the show Sukkot and down to just us and God.
It's right. That's also very romantic Rashi. So let's see what the Hasidic explanation here is. Hello, Elon. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Love the food, Rabbi. You trying to fatten us up?
I'm trying to make you have a good time when you're here.
Definitely working.
Okay, so Baruch Hashem. All right, so here. The Hasidic explanation, they don't have any. But no, it's verse 33. Oh, here, hold on, let's go right here. No, I don't see anything.
Do you want me to bring up Hebrew books? Chabad,
No, it's fine.
Chabad library?
No, it's okay. Yeah, I thought there might be something, but there isn't. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go on in the verse and Rashi says we just read the Rashi about stay with me a little bit longer. So it says, Kol moachas avodah, any work of labor you shall not do. Even if there's some things which is labor for you that if you don't do it, you're going to lose money, you still can't do it on that day. And this is an extra holy day. By the way, ironically, so Chol Moed, you're allowed to do certain types of work. Most of the work today, people are not really strict about it because like farming was what they considered work. They don't consider work like going in and reviewing your emails. They don't consider that work. So most people go to, who have the jobs, they can take off for the whole Chol Moed. But one of the things you're not allowed to do, ironically, is that you can't write the Torah. Chol Moed, I'm not allowed to write. Writing is considered to be a work. So it's a real challenge to me. I just sit there staring at the parchment. I'm not allowed to work it. I might think you can't work on the Chol Moed, that also those days are prohibited. It is forbidden on the first and the 8th day, but not on the Chol Moed. Okay, then the next verse says, these are the festivals of God, which you call them as holy days. To bring a offering to God. Mincha, an Ola offering, and a Mincha offering. And Ola is a complete elevation offering. Everything is burnt to Mincha is the grain offering. Zevach unesachim, a sacrifice with the libations. Davar yom b'yomo. Sukkos is different than what's different about the libations on Sukkos? Does anybody remember? What's different about the libation on Sukkos? Do you know what a libation is? It's to pour wine on the altar and oil on the altar. But on Sukkos is the only holiday where we pour water.
They light it on fire, or they would just pour it?
We poured the water. There was a place on the altar. So they had the water drawing ceremony, which is the Simchas Beis HaShoeva, where they drew water, but it was the festival of water. So they poured the water. Now, where on the altar do they pour the water is a good question. The wine, they poured down these 2 spigots, which they cleaned out, they said every 70 years. Like Kobe's room.
That's not too right. Room's always clean.
So, and once, whether it needs it or not, it was cleaned out. So there was a water libation which they poured on the altar. The water, they didn't burn the water. Obviously, you can't burn the water, but they.
I'm saying whatever it's called the mizbeach on fire, and then
pour the water on. No, that's not what it was. They either poured it on some place on the altar, or they poured it down those spigots. I have to check exactly where did they pour the water of the water libation. It's a very good question, and I don't know the answer to offhand. But it's not. This whole ceremony is unique to Sukkos. So also there was a lot of controversy about how to do it. Okay, so then it states, Eila Moadei Hashem. Okay, so Rashi says an Ola offering and a meal offering, Minchas Nisachem, HaKreva Emaola. So you bring this meal offering, which was poured with the Ola offering. And then it says, Devar Yom B'yomo, Chok HaKatzuv B'chumash HaPekudim. The amount of the libations was mentioned in the book of Bamidbar. Var Yom B'yomo, but if your day passed, you couldn't bring a substitute. Can you imagine if they had the base of Mikdash and they just forgot to bring the offering one day? That never happened. That happened. That's why we have a fast. One of the reasons why we fast was when the Batal Atamid, when they were unable to bring the Korban Tamid, and we declared a fast day. Milvad Shabbasos Hashem, aside from Hashem Shabbos, Milvad Matnosechem, and aside from your gift, Milvad Kol Nidrechem, Milvad Kol Nidvosechem, Asher Titnu Hashem. Aside from all your regular offerings, you have to bring this offering. Ach b'chamisha asar yom hachodesh hashvi'i, but on the 15th day of the 7th month, bas b'chemes tvuas aretz, when you gather in the grain, the crops of the earth, tachogu aschag Hashem shavas yamim, you have to celebrate this festival for 7 days. B'yom harishon Shabbaton, b'yom hashmini Shabbaton. So this is the holiday which we're celebrating now. This holiday is when we gather in the grains from our field. And we have to celebrate a festival for 7th day and make a fest and make it the 1st day is holy and the 8th day is holy. So we have a 7-day festival of Sukkot, the 1st day of which we can't do any work on. And then the 8th day, which is the additional holiday, which we're supposed to be waiting. That's, of course, here in America, we do how many days? We do 9 days. We have an additional day, the 9th day, which we call Simchas Torah. Do you know where Simchas Torah is mentioned in the Torah? Anybody know? It's not. Simchas Torah is nowhere mentioned in the Torah. It comes around around the 8th or 9th century because they never used to finish the Torah all in 1 year. They used to finish the Torah 3 years. So basically, since they didn't finish it every year, how are they going to celebrate Simchas Torah? So it was a later practice, a later custom. So I don't know who had that idea. What a great idea.
Technically, the second day of Shmini Atzeret, right?
Technically, it's second day of Shmini Atzeret, but since there's not much to do in Shmini Atzeret, they had to come up with something new. Came up with like a hook.
That's why in Israel,
It's all in 1 day.
it's on the day, right? Because they only have 1 day.
It was Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah when they attacked.
Side of October 7th will always be on
On
the first day of Shmini Atzeret.
Shmini Atzeret, yeah. It was the first day of that festival when they attacked at sunrise, when the people, the yeshiva and Stira were saying the Hallel. That's when the attack came in. So it says, and like now Israel's released, the IDF has released that what the Hamas did, believe it or not, saved thousands of people's lives because Hezbollah was planning an even bigger attack and with more sophistication. And if Hamas had not attacked, then Hezbollah would have attacked on 1 day. And they would have caught us down and they would have done it in a much more dangerous operation because they were much better trained. They had much more sophisticated weapons. So actually the Hamas attack, as horrific as it was, ended up saving Israel from a much worse attack.
So Hezbollah would have been a lot worse.
I think so.
Also, Israel was putting a lot more effort into surveillance as well. You could see, like, in the past few weeks when they decided to go after Hezbollah, how much easier it was for them to take out all the guys. They were making such an effort.
I don't know if it's easier, but they were better at it. But yeah, but they were
They, in a
focusing.
matter of weeks, took out like all their top guys. Where Hamas still has a lot of their top guys alive because it was putting so.
They
much focus.
were very successful at the beginning of the direct confrontation with Hezbollah, but that's not to say that they wouldn't have been caught off guard.
It's going to go off.
What?
It's going off, right? So it happened today. So it's a German attack.
Yeah. This 70 people were wounded. I mean, Hezbollah is a very powerful force that Israel did an incredible accomplishment of really setting them back with their brilliance and their courage. But if Israel had been napping like they were with Hamas, it would have been far worse. Like there is the Hamas thing was just insane, but it was put back, like they pushed them back within a few days. Okay, so now it says in the Rashi, B'chamisha asar yom tachogu, karban shlamim lachagiga. So on what does this mean? On Sukkot, you need to bring special offerings. One of them is a chagiga offering, which is also a type of peace offering. Yachol titchet haShabbat. I might think that this special Shlamim Chagiga overrides the Shabbat. Tamu Amar Ach. Oh, the Yesh Tashumin Kol Shiva. Since you can bring in this special offering all the days, therefore it does not override the festival. It does not override Shabbat. Bas B'chemes Tfuat Haaretz. When you gather in the crops, Sheyeh Chodesh Shvi Zeh Ba B'zman Asifah. That this 7th month comes at the times of bringing in the crops. That's when the harvest season is. Mikan, from here we learn, Shenitztavu Aberet Hashanim. So how do they make it since in the Muslims, the Ramadan is floating. But for the Jewish people, this has to come at the time of the harvest season, which I'm guessing is right around now in Israel. And so therefore, how do they make sure that they can make a leap an additional month? Shemeina Ibor, because if you wouldn't make a leap year, then sometimes it would be in the middle of the summer or the winter. So therefore, we make a leap year to control the seasons. This is the festival peace offering. Shivat Yamim. So what does it mean for 7 days? If you didn't bring the Shalmei Chagiga on the first day, you can bring it all 7 days. Yachol Yemevian Kol Shiva. I might think you have to bring this every day. Says the verse, Chagosim Oso, you shall celebrate it. Yom Echad Mashal Yoter. You have 1 day and not more. Lama Nemar Shiva. So if you didn't bring it on the first day, you have all 7 days to bring it, except for those days in which it's Shabbat. There's one Shabbat, you can't bring it on that day. Then the verse tells us, and okay, now we're going to L'kachtem lachem b'yom harishon, and you shall take for yourselves on the first day of the festival, pre-Eitz Hadar, a pre-Eitz Hadar, which doesn't tell us what it is. What is this pre-Eitz Hadar? What do we call this pre-Eitz Hadar? We call it an etrog. We call this pre-Eitz Hadar an etrog.
Citron.
A citron. But Rashi doesn't define it as that. Rashi just tells us some things that we need to know about the pre-Eitz Hadar, which are very special. We'll look at that in a moment. Kapot tamarim, some fronds of the palm tree, the dates. So maybe it has to be a tree that bears fruit. Anaf eitz avot, a branch of plaited tree. Va'arvei nachal, willows of the stream. Usmachtem of Hashem Elokechem, and you shall rejoice before God Shivat Yamim for 7 days. It's a mitzvah to be happy. So what is this pre-Eitz Hadar? This fruit tree that is beautiful. Rashi tells us, Hadar be'ilano mishana l'shana, that it dwells on its tree from year to year. V'zeu etrog, and this is the etrog. So let's go. This is something very powerful. What is the etrog? What's its definition? What makes it beautiful? That unlike the other trees, that the other fruit trees which go off after 1 year, the pre-Eitz Hadar stays longer. The etrog stays on the tree for 2 to 3 years. Not all the fruits are harvested at the same time. And so that's like the Jewish people. We stay longer. We stay connected longer. Hadar bi'ilano mishana l'shana. It's a very beautiful idea that the etrog stays on its tree for multiple seasons. It doesn't just abandon the tree right away. It's the big picture. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.
You don't have the first Dibor Matchil?
No. Hadar. Hadar. Oh yeah, I skipped that. Eitz, Shatam, Eitzo, Upiryo Shavah. That's another thing about the etrog, that the tree, it's a fruit whose tree and its wood taste alike. I think Rashi meant it as a compliment, but I can take that as an insult, that the fruit tastes like wood. You ever eat the estrog? You can make estrog jam. The recipe is 1 drop of estrog and 14 gallons of sugar, and then it's edible. Kapot Marim. It's written without the letter Vav, Chaser Vav. Now it's to tell us, we made She'ena Ela Achat. This teaches us that it is only one. That you only need 1 lulav. Va'anaf eitz avot, she'anafav kuyim ta'avotot. It's a tree whose branches are plaited like cords, kachavalim, like rope. V'zeu adas. This is the myrtle. So successful trip.
Yeah, David's
bringing the load.
and he went down.
So we need to help him.
Yeah, and he didn't want to trim they're not plating poles. They have,
Got the leaves on it.
Wow.
so you can.
So where is he coming, in the back or the front?
So there's someone moving in the back. It's right.
Is that David?
Open it up.
Do the truck, yeah.
Okay, let's go help him. Let's do this mitzvah. We'll stop the recording here. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to do the mitzvah of building the sukkah. Just take us 1 minute. Stop the recording.